As we sit in this drought until the Valis Undermine update on October 15th, I've been experimenting with different Warframes and weapons, and I figured I have like 3 copies of the Miter Incarnon Genesis for some reason, so might as well get this thing and see how good it is. And I've heard that it's actually pretty good and a pretty underrated Incarnon, so I decided to just, see for myself how good it was. And yes, it is very good and very underrated. So if you don't know what the Miter Incarnon does, it fires explosive projectiles that bounce around from enemy to enemy or wall to enemy or whatever, and then explode every time that it bounces, creating this like ricocheting explosive grenade that just spreads statuses and deals damage everywhere. It's very similar to the Latron Incarnon. A lot of people would say it's worse than Latron Incarnon. While that may be true, that doesn't discredit the fact that this weapon is still a very good weapon. So you might be asking, why not just make a video on the Latron Incarnon? Well, that would be like recommending an RPG fan Baldur's Gate 3, because like everyone's already played Baldur's Gate 3. Everyone's already used the Latron Incarnon. People might not have used the Miter Incarnon and don't know how fun it is to use. So that's what this video is here for. Before we get started in the video, this is not a build guide video. You can use the builds that I have in the video, or you cannot. I'm not your dad. Alright, so let me quickly go over the Incarnon Evolutions. I'm going with the Swift Sawblades for the 77 base damage, projectile speed, and then base crit chance. You can switch off base crit chance for base crit chance and status chance if you want. It's just a slight change of stats. You'll just have more status and less crit. So the build I would normally use for this weapon, I went for a blast build to keep going on the explosive theme. I do have a Riven that gives me heat, cold, and multi-shot, but you should not need a Riven for this. This weapon's strong enough that you could just put like, I don't know, a heat mod or something on here. It doesn't really matter about the Riven, although the Riven is very nice to have. But yeah, this is just standard issue blast build, crit, multi-shot, elementalist, blast, status chance, and then a Bane mod because, statuses, and then Prime Merciless, of course. The status chance is 123 for the both, the direct hit and the radial attack. So it's a decent enough status chance to proc blast everywhere, and then you have a 126 crit chance. If you switch over to the critical parallel, the stats will end up looking like this, so more heavily weighted towards status, and then lower crit. So it's just personal preference. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one you take. It should be the same, really. I don't really know, but it feels the same. So this build I run with an external source of viral, so Nourish. If I don't have a Nourish frame on, I'll just use the viral heat setup, which it's still like, it's probably actually a better setup than blast, but I'll just show the blast for now. So pop the Nourish. I'm not even gonna put the moat down because you don't really need to see the fire rate. Yeah, they just bounce around everywhere and just proc blast everywhere. It's pretty it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You could just like shoot one into a group of enemy, or like 1 or 2, and it should deal with them. Or you can just spam it, because you can see the Incarnon is not hard to build up. You just spam a bunch of saw blades into their head. It takes 4 saw blades to build up the full charge, so you can just do that, and then boom, 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 boom. You can do that if you want. And then the ricochets they seem to target enemies more than the Latron Incarnon. The Latron Incarnon kind of bounces around everywhere. The Miter Incarnon kind of like seeks out enemies, I feel like. So that's kind of a pretty big difference. But yeah, this weapon's super fun to use. It's just like exploding ball of death that just procs blasts everywhere. Let me show you the setup without Nourish, with just Viral Heat. So I'm not gonna proc nourish here. So this is like unbuffed basically, other than the dog. You can see it's still really good. The clear speed might be a little bit lower, but like, you know, it does a lot of damage. So you can basically just spam this into a group of enemies and they'll die really fast. Oh, and also another important note, I am running reinforced bond on my pet. So that is why I don't have a fire rate mod on. I don't think you even need a fire rate mod, to be honest, on this. It fires fast enough even without a fire rate mod or reinforced bond, I think. So, actually, let me see how fast it fires. Let me actually check. Is it fast enough? Yeah, it's fast enough. You don't need fire rate on this, because it paces your shots out so you don't waste too much ammo. Instead of just like, if you don't want to spam the ever-loving hell out of it, you could just like boom, boom, boom. You could like place your shots methodically, I guess, and then it'll just do the rest, like that. Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick little video showcasing this Incarnon because a lot of people just dismiss it because the Latron Incarnon exists, and don't do that because you're missing out on a very fun Incarnon. Alright, so one last thing before you go. I went and took a look at the Latron Incarnon's stats, and I noticed that it has significantly worse status chance than the Miter Incarnon. So if you want a more status focused build, the Miter Incarnon is where it's at. The Miter Incarnon has a base status chance of 56, whereas the Latron Incarnon has a base status chance of 30. So almost half of the Miters. So that's why the status chance is like this high. And you can even play Citrine if you want to give yourself even more status chance. So yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. I just wanted to do a quick little showcase for this Incarnon that people might not know is actually a good Incarnon. But yeah, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you like my content, and I will see you in the next one.